I want to touch up on the issue of animal rights. I really want to look at things from the Western point of view. I want to see exactly why it is that humans deny animals rights. Now, if we sit there and we think about it, we ask, where do rights come from? Where do human rights come from? I think we all have to keep in mind that human rights are derived from humans. They're derived from committees, organizations, certain groups of humans that got together and for ideological reasons, for reasons that they thought would help the human race, help themselves, help their cause, help their country, help their race, whatever, what have you. It was always a group of humans that got together and decided, we want these rights for these certain individuals or for this group of people. So, whenever I hear anyone say, animals don't have rights, that's really not saying anything at all. I can just as easily sit there and say, humans do not have rights. And while someone can point to a piece of paper and say, look, nope, they do have rights, I would say, yes, they have rights on that piece of paper, which is derived from a group of people that had interest to give those people rights. I agree with those people. I think those people need those rights. And for that reason, I also think that animals also need rights. Now, neither group, assuming that animals did one day get their rights, I guess some of them do have rights in certain parts of the world. When they do get rights, we have to understand that that's not coming from some supernatural power. The only reason why those are acknowledged at all is because humans decided to do it. That's the same issue that animals now face. They rely upon the same kind of movements that humans, for the most part, once did, and some groups of humans still do. They still rely upon humans getting together and acknowledging rights that they think they should have. And I think very, very basic rights that animals should have is the right to their own personhood, basically the right to their own life, not to be killed without a purpose, and the right to not have their property stolen from them, i.e. their children, their reproductive systems, their secretions, their bodily goods. Those are theirs. They have a right to that, and they also should have a right to the bounty that their bodies produce. You know, if they're tilling a field, if they're being used in a circus, they should be paid. Nothing is free in this world. That's what we always hear. Nothing's free. Why is it that things suddenly become free when you put an animal in there? Why does the animal not deserve to get paid what they are due? Why is it suddenly free labor? I don't understand that principle. In Western thinking, this is inconceivable. Why do we deny these things to animals? Besides just sitting there and saying for like some religious reason, they're animals, therefore that's all you need to know. I mean, that's not saying anything. They are animals. No shit, and you're just a human. But for some reason, some people got together once upon a time. They said, you know what would be best for everyone? If we acknowledge the rights of humans. And it's the same thing that needs to happen for animals. They need their rights acknowledged. They deserve to have their rights acknowledged. It doesn't do us any good to cheat them. At least not unless we're worried about really holding to our values that we proclaim we do in the West, which is freedom and basic rights and everyone having equality. There's no such thing as saying, I believe in equality, and then not extending equality to others. Even animals. They're not somehow like outside the boundaries of ethics. Where people get that, I have no idea. But you have to be willing to enter a reciprocal agreement with other beings. Mind you, I say willing to. I understand that you're not going to get an animal, you're not going to get a great white shark to have a reciprocal agreement with him, but you have to at least be willing to theoretically step up to the plate with an animal and say, okay, you have these rights, I have mine. It could be something just as simple as, okay, you don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. That's usually a pretty standard thing that a lot of animals will subscribe to. And the only reason why they'd ever break that is because they need to eat you, because they will die if they don't. And that's pretty understandable. That's probably as basic as rights get, and that's something that most animals almost always seem to get, that they seem to always respond to. I understand there may be an anomaly out there. There might be some twisted fucking animal that, you know, may just for shits and giggles go out there and hunt down other animals for fun and torture them. But for the vast, vast majority of animals, they're not going to screw with other animals, other beings, just for the hell of it. So I find it very weak when someone says, I deserve rights. I deserve this, I deserve that, because I was born a human. And then they turn around and they say, these animals do not deserve these rights because they are not born human. Where does that come from? Where's the source of that information? And like I totally understand from a logistical standpoint, like from a selfish standpoint, from like a I want to survive standpoint, I totally understand why it makes sense to deny animals their rights. Makes total sense if you're like living on the brink. But right now, we're not living on the brink. We give up very, very, very little. Us people in the first world, even I'll say a lot of people in the second world countries, they wouldn't be giving up much of anything, if anything at all. Hell, they probably gaining a lot in a lot of areas if they gave animals, or at least acknowledged animals' rights. So I have a very hard time when those people sit there and they say, I want these things, I want these rights extended to me, and I want every single being on the universe to accept them, and accept the fact that there are other humans who will come and defend my rights, but at the same time, I will not condone them being extended to other beings, even if other humans want them to. I'm sorry. At that point, I can't really respect your plea for rights. Do I agree that you should have those rights? Yes, I do. But that's also contingent on the fact that all beings, all sentient beings, should also deserve those rights. Because, I mean, let's face it, we all come into this world basically, I don't understand why people feel so privileged being born a human. What the fuck did you do to deserve to be a human? Look, congratulations on being born. Okay, you're one of how many trillions of beings that are being born? So what? And I totally understand the position where some people put a lot of legitimacy into birthrights. I get that. Like, I'm a huge history lover, so I totally understand. Sometimes there are extreme advantages to giving birthrights to some people. It makes things fairly simple for everyone else to understand. They understand, okay, this person is born into this family, therefore we can all expect this out of them, or we can expect that out of them. It makes sense on some levels, but for the most part, Western society, we have rejected that. We have said no. We have said people are not defined by what they are defined by what they do. And I totally agree with that. Some of you might not. Some of you might think that, maybe England should be ran by the monarchy again. Maybe the Swedish king should take over their country again. Maybe Assad really is the right leader no matter what he does in Syria. I don't know. I don't really agree with that, though. I don't think most other people in the West really believe in that either. So I just ask that they extend those same principles that they've been doing to humans and extend them to animals. Because if any animal was dangerous to extend rights to, it was probably humans. And we already did that anyway. So we're probably already out of it.